Auspicious greeting to everyone. Welcome to our Guang Shan English Dharma Service channel. I am Juedi from Nan Hua Temple in South Africa. Today, I will cover the topic of thinking outside the box. You can find this article from the third volume of Buddha Dharma, Pure and Simple by Venerable Master Shan. I find this topic quite interesting because this is thinking outside the box with a dose of the Dharma. So let us start with a small little game. Can you find the letter M? Did you manage to find it? Some found it at the bottom right-hand corner. But look again, it is not a letter M. Half of it was being cut off. Yes, some of you might have noticed the letter M in the white at the top row. These pictures mislead us when we stick to our usual way of thinking. This is similar to our everyday life. We are searching for happiness, but we either search in the wrong direction or treat pseudo-happiness as true happiness. When we are willing to think outside the box, then it may not be so difficult to look for happiness. Here is an example of the crying old lady. Once, there was a lady who cried every day. So people give her a nickname, the crying old lady. One day, a wise man passed by and overheard this old lady crying. He approached her and asked, "My dear old lady, why are you crying? Can I help you?" The old lady replied, "Oh, you will never be able to help me. So many people come to me and want to offer their help, but none of them was able to." The wise man gently said, "Please, tell me your problem. Maybe I can help you." The old lady then said, "I have two daughters. My elder daughter married to an umbrella seller. The second married to a noodle seller. On sunny days, I worry about my elder daughter because her umbrella business is bad. On rainy days, I will worry about my second daughter because she cannot put the flour under the sun to dry to make noodles. Therefore, I cry every day." The wise man smiled at the old lady and said, "I have a way to solve your problem. On sunny days, think only of your second daughter, who can put the flour under the sun. On rainy days, think only of your elder daughter who sells umbrellas." The old lady followed his suggestion. From then on, every day is a happy day for the old lady. Her neighbors now call her the smiling old lady. There are many circumstances in life whereby we can change our external conditions. In the above example, we cannot change the weather. However, we can change our mindset. Try to think outside the box, and life will not be as miserable as we think. Do we think the right thing at the correct time or the incorrect time? Before we listen to the ways suggested by Venerable Master Shan on how to think outside of the box, I will first introduce some key Buddhist concepts. These key concepts help us understand the reasons behind interpersonal conflicts. We encounter these three types of dissatisfactions in our life. Firstly, encountering what is unpleasant. Secondly, separation from what is pleasant, and thirdly, not getting what one wants. When these three happen, they can cause conflicts among people. For example, in Southeast Asia, there is a popular fruit called durian. Most people in Southeast Asia love durians. However, some dislike them. Those who love durians will enjoy the fragrance and soft textures of the durian flesh. But those who dislike durian will say it is stinky. Like the proverb says, one man's meat is another man's poison. Hence, this is when conflicts comes about. If we understand that every one of us is encountering these three types of dissatisfaction in life, then we learn to be more embracing and tolerate of others' action. With these concepts, we first establish this is how we feel, and next, we get to see how others feel. The following are the 4 suggestions by Venerable Master Xing Yun. The first one is to allow others to be right and be willing to be wrong. The second one is to allow others to be great and be willing to be small. The third one is to allow others to have and be willing to go without. And the fourth one is to allow others to be happy and be willing to suffer. You might have noticed by now that this seems to be like putting others in the first place and ourselves the second. However, going one step backward is moving one step forwards. Let's go into the first example about right and wrong. Donna asked Daisy, "Why is it our family always argues and is unable to enjoy a single moment of peace, while your family is always harmonious and never seems to quarrel?" Daisy said, "That's because your family is always right, and my family is always wrong. If someone in your family breaks a cup, they wouldn't think it's their fault. Instead, they would immediately blame others for misplacing the cup. To which the others would reply, 'You are the one who is careless and broke the cup.' This is why the argument never stops. My family is the exact opposite. Everyone openly admits their errors. The person who broke the cup would immediately own up to the mistake, and the other person would also apologize for misplacing the cup. Since my family admits they are in the wrong, naturally, we enjoy a harmonious relationship. By allowing others to be right and be willing to be wrong, Daisy's family is open to making mistakes and creating a more embracing family. In the workplace, sometimes instead of scolding a person for not doing work properly, we may apologize and say, "Oh, maybe I have not made myself clear. Hence, you interpreted wrongly and did the wrong way. I shall explain again." After explaining, you can ask him, "What do you think is the right way of doing it?" This will encourage better communication between each other. When you take one step back and admit that it's your mistake, sometimes people are more willing to open up and admit they are wrong. The second one is to allow others to be great and be willing to be small. A person gains the respect of others through virtue and an honorable reputation, not by conceit and vanity. In Buddhism, there is a bodhisattva named Never Disparaging. To all who look down upon him, the bodhisattva would reply, I dare not belittle any of you, for you are all future Buddhas. By having this mentality of allowing others to be great and the willingness to be small, naturally, there will be no disputes. Our ego prevents us from being humble and seeing others as future Buddhas. Let's continue with our story of Donner. Donner is a very efficient and effective person. He takes pride in being one. So whenever in the office, when people criticize his performance, he got mad at them. Sometimes, all these accusations may not be true, but the reality is that false accusations happen. This is the first key concept that I mentioned earlier on, that is, encountering what is unpleasant. Despite encountering unpleasant situations, the never disparaging bodhisattvas allows others to be great and be willing to be small. People who think themselves insignificant are not necessarily so. For the most admirable people are those who are patient, tolerant, and magnanimous. When we gradually learn to put aside our ego, we are in better control of our happiness. The third one is to allow others to have and be willing to go without. Most people hope to have more than others and cannot if they go without. However, being the only person to have something that nobody else has might incite jealousy and bitterness. How could that possibly be happy? In many countries, when income inequality is high, stealing and robbery become very common. When crime increases, ultimately nobody gains. To go without does not mean there is nothing. It means to be without limits, without measure, without exhaustibility, and without bounds. In contrast, having something also means having limits, having measure, having end, and having bounds. If people truly understand the concept of emptiness, they are as free as the sky, because the sky is without boundaries and limits. It can embrace the cloud, the birds, tall buildings, etc. But for material things, there is a limit. How many meals can you eat in a day? How many luxurious cars can you drive in a day? No matter how rich you are, all of us are equally given 24 hours a day to spend. So we have to go beyond shapes and forms. If you look at this particular picture, you see the rock. There's a hole inside it. If this rock is not in this form, do you think it will attract a lot of attention? Imperfection turns out to be beauty. We realize that the things that are more valuable in life are without shape and form. Value is not determined by something's appearance, but by how much it has meaning. The fourth one is to allow others to be happy and be willing to suffer. Seeking personal comfort and happiness at the expense of other people is the basis of worldly disputes. On the surface, those who give happiness to others may appear to be in position of disadvantage, but in actuality, they are the ones who benefit. If we look at the world, there are numerous examples of people who can withstand the test of time like evergreen trees because of their ability to endure hardship. Conversely, short-sighted people who indulge in laxity, looking for quick fixes, are eliminated by the test of time because of an inability to handle changes that come their way. When we look at history, those people who improve the livelihood of others are being remembered. For example, the invention of the light bulb created convenience for every one of us. The process of the invention involved a lot of hardship. On the other hand, when we think only of our happiness, there are siblings rivalries, office politics, countries going into wars, and all the people suffer together. To build harmonious interpersonal relationships, it is crucial to keep in mind these 4 points. By doing so, even with differing opinions or methods of doing things, people will still be able to coexist in harmony and peace. And lastly, may you find joy in the Dharma. Goodbye.